Welcome to Beyond the Review, customer conversations about digital transformation success, presented by Raven Intelligence. I'm your host and the founder and CEO of Raven Intel, Bonnie Tinder. Well, welcome. I am delighted today to be joined by Jia Kruger, Director of People and Culture at HRchitect, and Jasmine Noyce, Senior Implementation Consultant at HRchitect. HRchitect specializes in human capital management and delivers expertise around the full life cycle of HCM technology. They've helped thousands of organizations like HRchitect across the globe to create strategies to select, to implement, and support the full spectrum of HR and workforce management solutions. So Jia and Jasmine, welcome. So excited to have you here today.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Hello.
Jia, I'd love to start with you. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, the role that you have at HRchitect, and also a little bit about the company?
Yeah, so I am Jia Kruger. I've been in HR almost 20 years now, and I specialize in mergers and acquisitions and in department scaling. So I am used to coming in where there is no department and literally building everything from the ground up, and then starting from 0 to 50 employees and getting to 5,000, 6,000 around there. El Car Wash is one of the top car washes in the state of Florida right now. We actually last week just won an award for the fastest growing, one of the fastest growing businesses in the Southeast region from INC 500, INC Regionals. We are a self-service car wash. You go into a ramp, you get your car washed, and then there are vacuums where you can park your car and kind of self-serve and clean your car. We started with 4 locations, and now we are we just opened number 45 yesterday. When I came on board, which was January of last year, we had about 250 employees. We now have about 730 employees. We had 21 locations, and now we're at 45. This year, we are looking at opening up another 30 locations. And those are brick and mortars. That's not counting all of the acquisitions that we have along the way. So we are looking at expanding in Florida, and we have now officially broken ground in Michigan. And we are looking at officially opening up there in less than 6 months.
Amazing. Amazing. Explosive.
Really
growth.
exciting.
So I have to ask you, is your car always clean?
On the outside, I have kids. I have 3 kids. I have 3 babies, a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 12-year-old. So not so much on the inside, but I do have my my El Car Wash air freshener there, so that helps. But on the outside, oh, it is squeaky clean. And I can tell you a thing or two about those express washes and if the timer's on or not, and what gives it a great wash. So I've become an expert.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, really interesting business. And, clearly you have seen tremendous growth over the past several years. So as you're thinking about the HR practice, the HR function, what were some of the drivers that led you to look for and implement a new HR system?
Yeah, great question. So when I came on board, we were on a really poor version of ADP. It was ADP Run. ADP Run is designed for 0 to 50 people, and I already had over 200 employees. So one of the first things I noticed was a lack of technology, systems, reporting, and that's such important data that my senior leaders need to have at their fingertips, right? And in seeing that, I got worried. How are we going to scale this to 2,000-3,000 employees when I don't have a system that can house these employees? I don't have reporting that I can give to my leaders. And that's kind of where I dropped this big bomb on everyone. And I kind of said, we need to do something, please allow me. This is going to be a really big project, but in order for us to be successful down the line, I think now is the time. With me getting here, I had just hired Mary, who's my payroll manager. Her and I have worked together in the past. I had just hired her. It was literally us two. And I sat with my leadership team and, kind of just listed out everything that we were going to need to be successful, to be the HR department we needed to be and to be those strong pillars for our employees. And it was a no-brainer for them. They were like, all right, we trust you, go and do your homework. And that's kind of where I started doing my homework. And just every time, I started going down that rabbit hole, UKG kept standing out. UKG, they do payroll for the NBA. We have a competitor, Mister, which they have over 400 car washes in the Texas area. And in the California area, they have UKG. And it was kind of picking their brains. And I spoke to a couple of people, and I just really liked the model. I really liked the customer service points. There was so much lacking with ADP that I thought, wow, this is where it's going to be at. And I met with a person by the name of Jessica Kaplan from UKG, absolutely amazing. And when I saw what I would be able to do with BI analytics and just the people side of things, the organization, the management, I fell in love. And then it was, kind of asking daddy, please, I really need a lot of money to make this happen. And, they did see everything that UKG had to offer. And it was kind of a no-brainer from there. And we decided to, pull the trigger. The concern there was I'm alone. I have Mary. I can't pull Mary, every other week. We still have payroll to run and things like that. So how am I going to do it? And that's kind of when Jessica kind of said the only way, you're going to really be able to be as successful as you want to be is getting someone, like a third party. And then that's when we started exploring the third parties. And HRchitect came in, and the rest was history for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. And certainly these projects are all about people. You mentioned multiple as part of the journey that you had both with UKG and HRchitect. Just for sort of specificity, what were the modules that you implemented, and what was the specific time frame that you were tasked in getting things up and running?
Oh, great question. So we initially, with folks that aren't used to a big HRIS platform and they see all of the spends, they get scared, right? So I didn't go in so heavy, and we just did Pro, which was going to be basic employee management. I wanted the applicant tracking system because I needed one. I wanted to break away from where we were. So I pretty much got the basics: payroll, employee management, applicant tracking system. They did tell us it was going to be a really, it was going to be an intense, 6 to 8 weeks. And, but they did tell us, if you guys have a good team and if you guys are dedicated, it can happen. So we kind of did that. But as we started going down the UKG rabbit hole and seeing just all the other modules, performance, succession planning, BI, it was kind of like, yeah, we need that. Oh, the voice. Oh, yeah, we need that. LMS. Yep, we need that. So what ended up being something so small, we were just getting a few things, turned into us literally getting, I think, the entire platform and still doing it in 6 to 8 weeks, but having people like Jasmine helping us, and very many late nights and things like that, where it felt like a family, right? We were talking so much and working together where we became this really cohesive team for those 6 to 8 weeks. And I think in 8 weeks, Jasmine, it was 8 weeks, right? Because we started in August, and by November 1st, we kind of, it was when we wrapped up. So that's kind of how we ended up getting all of our bells and whistles, which happened by accident. I'm in love with them. So I'm happy it happened the way it did. Because I think my team saw just the benefits and everything, that we could use with the system.
And how did you find HRchitect, and what were some of the things about them as an organization that initially attracted you to them and their
Yeah,
model?
great question. I know that in speaking with Jessica Kaplan, our salesperson from UKG, I had a heart to heart with her, and I said, "Listen, I'm alone. How am I going to do this? I'm a hardworking mom of 3. It's not like I can spend 20 out of my 24 hours doing this. I know you mentioned that there are third parties. Who's the best? And I said, who can really help me? And where can I really get, bang for my buck kind of thing?" And she gave me a few, and I started doing my homework. But again, HRchitect came highly recommended, and Jessica only had wonderful things to speak of. Like, for instance, Marcy, I forget her last name, because Jasmine, you're Jasmine Noyce. But in speaking with Marcy, and just one conversation, and I was sold. The HRchitect really was the team that I needed, the hands-on, always available. Are we tech people? Jasmine can tell you we know a little something, but not enough. And it was like that worry of, are we really going to do this when we don't have all the tools, and we don't know what they know? But HRchitect, again, they swooped in and they really took us by the hand, and it was great. The worries of me and Mary doing it alone kind of went away, just because we had so much support. So I think Jessica, and I really do think that Jessica, in kind of giving me some pointers and me being able to do my homework, and discovering HRchitect and seeing just how hands-on they are, it really spoke volumes. And it was, again, no brainer. I had to go with the best of the best, and HRchitect is the best of the best.
That's awesome. And they really,
Yeah.
it sounds like, became an extension of your team,
Oh, they are
provided the
still to this day.
resources that you didn't have
Yeah.
internally. Great to hear. And so, as you elected for specific services, it sounds like, implementation was the initial services. Were there other aspects to the engagement that you had with HRchitect? What else did you use HRchitect for?
So we were using HRchitect to help us with the implementation.
Mhm.
And then as we started getting the bells and whistles, they started helping us a little more, just like with BI and things like that. And then I realized that, just it's such a strong partnership that instead of me hiring more folks for my team, for instance, I can just work with HRchitect. And that's kind of what I've done. So instead of the approved headcount that I had, for 2024, for instance, I went ahead and I invested that in my partnership with HRchitect, just because I can't get better than that, and I don't think, in, getting people here and training them and those kinds of things, I won't get the service and the level of commitment that I've gotten from folks like Jasmine and Ryan and things like that, who they really made a difference. Like, they really did help us, make this implementation. And we look like superheroes here thanks to them.
I love it. Well,
Yeah.
Jasmine, we have a superhero right here on the call. Could you tell us a little bit about the role that you played in the project, and some of the things or the challenges that you addressed right away as it came to the L car wash implementation?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was the system consultant, and for this project, because it was such a rapid project, they paired us up in a team of two. So me and another consultant, we worked simultaneously to tackle different pieces of the project together. So the initial aspects of the project were the timeline, and then El Car Wash was just facing rapid growth. So we brought 3 FEINs to go live in November, and then by January, we brought another 41. So it was kind of a phased approach, and it was thinking down the road, how is this going to grow with them? We don't want to set them up for like a cut and paste of what they're right now, but is it going to work for them when they're at 5,000 employees? Because that's where they're going.
Yep. So will it scale? So the
Yes.
processes are what they are today, but how can we make those appropriate and grow and evolve with them when they're 5,000 employees or in 3 acquisitions from now?
Yes.
I love it. So in terms of this project, and looking at some of the things that made it successful, and certainly Gia sounds like her own superstar as well. What were some of the things that you think El Car Wash did that made it so successful? What were some of those traits? Specifically, if we have lots of customers that are going to be listening to this, what were some of the things that set them up for success in this project?
So Gia and her small team of two met or beat every single deadline we gave to them. If that meant that they put in the time on their end while we put in the time on our end and really met together as a partnership. They didn't hesitate to join every call that we requested and then some. Projects are the most successful when the client is willing to put in all the effort to make it go successful. There's so much we can do on our end. It takes a partnership, and Jia and Mary and her team definitely gave us that partnership. And then we had our client side support. So we had additional members of our team, and then HRchitect just was willing to bring in more as needed. And they were also very decisive when it came to their configuration and their build. They brought in additional key decision makers at the right times when needed. There was no hesitation. There was no, let me talk this internally for 3 weeks and get back to you. It was, we need a decision now. Let's do it.
That is huge. And I can't tell you, I look at customer reviews of projects all the time. The roadblocks with red tape and decision making is what stalls the project. And sometimes it, just unnecessarily. So kudos to you, Gia, for the ability to do that and the ability to be decisive. Because when I think of an 8-week implementation, there was you can't have any consternation, or else that would just not have been possible. Gia, as you think about the goals that you set for this project going in, were they met? And did you hit the milestones that you had really hoped for?
Yeah, so great question. My goals were met. I think if anything exceeded, I doubted myself. I didn't think we were going to be able to do this, and I thought we're going to be into March and we're still not going to be live. Did it go 100% to plan? It didn't, and it was more my team's fault. But my gosh, and seeing how HRchitect helped us at the 11th hour when things did go wrong, and how it was all hands on deck for something my team did, it really spoke volumes. So my goals were met, exceeded, super exceeded. And even with the little issues we did have, and seeing the team's reaction and seeing just how hands-on they were and how it was, we're going to do whatever it takes to get us to where we need to be. I think that made the difference in that, we just really worked together with those blips. So in my mind, although it wasn't the smoothest and we did have some things here and there, I still think that everything was met and it was still fantastic. And I know my leadership team feels the same way, because we were up against the clock. We were set up to fail. And I really do wholeheartedly feel that HRchitect, they did everything in their power to not allow that, to give us the tools for success and to not let us fail. And, there were days where I know it was midnight and Jasmine was still, we were emailing each other and Jasmine was still, we were still there and still, fighting for the cause. And again, that's where I'm like, okay, I have the great team, and this is how I know my goals were everything and more.
That's awesome. True partnership.
True partnership. Yep. They can't get rid of me. They can't get rid of me at this point.
What advice would you give to a customer who might be considering UKG and doing a project like this?
You will never regret UKG, but you won't be able to do it without a strong partner like HRchitect. You will fail. And I don't mean to say it, inappropriately or anything like that, but you need strong people that want to see you succeed. And I think that's literally like HRchitect's definition. They will do anything to get us, to a happy place where we're happy, where we're succeeding, our employees are getting paid, that kind of thing. And, if I can offer any advice, it's go with our HRchitect, because they are going to hold your hand. And again, to what we said previously, it's a true partnership. You're not going to feel alone. You're not going to be left in the dark. They are going to walk you through everything, and you're going to come out winning on the other side for sure.
Amazing to hear. And, looking across the portfolio of HRchitect, we hear similar from other customers as well. Jasmine, how about you? What would advice that you would have for a customer that might be considering a project like this one?
I would say come into it with the ability to make those decisions or a plan to make decisions. And we understand an implementation is another job on top of your day job. So it's like you're working two jobs for the length of the project. And so lean in to us, let us help you. We're as strong as our partnership.
So good. So good. Well, Jia and Jasmine, thank you so much for the great insights you've provided us with today. I'm excited to hear where things go in the next year. Thanks so much, ladies.
No, thank you
Thank
guys.
you.
And Jasmine, thank you for everything. In case I haven't told you, I really appreciate it. You're amazing. And HRchitect is really lucky to have you. I'm in HR. I can say that they are very lucky to have you.